This is the Rebel Call channel. Welcome to today's show. Have you ever heard the expression that you could tell a lot about a man by the way he shakes someone else's hand? Well, maybe you haven't, but there's a lot to that saying because, of course, if you have never thought over the years of why we always see handshakes prominently placed on the covers of magazines or when famous world leaders meet each other, why they always make sure they have a snapshot of that handshake occurring with the two of them looking at the screen. Well, they don't expect you to think anything further. But the reality of the matter is this is how Freemasons show one another that they're in the fraternal order by displaying their secret handshakes out in the open. Now, they don't expect the common person to ever be able to wrap their heads around Freemasonry or secret societies. They want you to think no further than, well, it's just a group of guys that get together that like to drink beer, right? It's just like a fraternity, huh? Well, no, not even close. They're actually the ones whose motto is order out of chaos, and you're seeing it unfold right now on a day-to-day basis around the entire earth. So Javier Milei is the supposed, I say supposed because of course we know all these elections around the world are fake, but he's the supposed elected president of Argentina, who has become very, very popular. He went to the World Economic Forum. Nobody was suspicious as to why he was there because, of course, he gave a nice scripted speech speaking out against the World Economic Forum, as if they would just let anybody go there and speak against them, as if people like me and you could go and speak there and rip into everybody there. Now, I get it. He's a president. I'm not. He's a person in a position of power, but they probably wouldn't invite somebody who is so outspoken against the World Economic Forum and the New World Order, unless, of course, he was a plant. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing the mold of this Argentina president. He's playing the same exact character as Donald Trump. There are leaders being put in place who are playing the same exact role. They're doing the same things. They're speaking the same ways. They're speaking out and saying the things that'll tickle your ears and make you think that these people are standing for you. But really what they're doing is they're standing as a wall between an actual revolution starting. They're placeholders who are going to lure their audiences into ultimately into where these people want us to be led, who disagree with the New World Order will be sitting ducks, like I've said a million times. So interesting to note that he's now over in America, and of course, he's doing all the basic stops if you were trying to herd and manipulate people, which means you would go to Ben Shapiro, you would go to the Daily Wire, places that kiss your rear end openly, and of course, you would go see Elon Musk, right? Because that makes perfect sense. Maybe he loves electric vehicles, or maybe he's just for the Neuralink brain chip or brain implant. I mean, you can't really explain, right? But if you think about it, you think how these people are presented: Tucker Carlson, Elon Musk, Ben Shapiro, and the Daily Wire. These people are all somehow friends all of a sudden, right? And these are your outspoken conservative leaders who are doing nothing more than gatekeeping you. So he goes and he meets with Elon Musk, right? So of course they need to take a photograph of each other shaking hands because they don't expect you to see that they're actually making a Freemasonic handshake with each other. And this right here is what we call the lion's paw, or as some refer to it, the real grip of a master Mason. And to be in the positions that these people are, presidents of countries and Elon Musk, who is the owner of Twitter and Tesla, nobody's suspicious how he pushes the electric vehicle. I mean, when you think electric vehicle, there's only one company you think of really, and that's Tesla. Nobody thinks about the Neuralink, and how he talked about injecting the Neuralink into people's bloodstreams, and no one's figuring out what's going on right now because he's saying everything you want to hear from somebody. We're all getting censored. We're all dealing with being silenced, and he's supposedly a champion of free speech. So everybody is just dismissing all the things that he says and does. Same thing with Donald Trump, right? All the stuff, everybody believes in the government created list of that guy's island, right? And then nobody wants to take, Donald Trump into account. They just dismiss his association with the guy and say, oh, they weren't really friends because it fits their narrative better. It's no different than the liberals who don't want to believe this stuff is going on because it's too hard for them to grasp. Conservatives don't want to believe that they're being manipulated by these people. They think that they know all, and they don't realize that all these people put in these prominent positions are manipulating you. They're hurting you. So look at the handshake between the two of them, okay? That is a lion's paw. If you look closely, you could see the two fingers extended out. That's deliberately done. Anybody that looks at this picture and thinks that this is a normal handshake, like if you were going on a job interview and meeting somebody, that this is how you would shake their hands, or if you were seeing a longtime friend and you met him at the airport, that you go up to him and this is how you shake hands. Now, people will, of course, make excuses because they'll say, well, they were posing for the camera. They won't even think further as to why they were posing for a camera, why they felt the need to take a picture of them shaking hands, because the whole world was just asking for it, right? Huh? They're taking the picture of them shaking hands because this is what Freemasons do. They show this to all their fellow brothers and sisters, and they love the fact that the majority of people will not believe that Freemasons are anything more than just a local club of fraternity brothers who are hanging out together. They don't want you to ever believe that these are the movers and the shakers, that these are the people manipulating your township at a local level, your local governments, as well as your world government. Okay, we always talk about the Vatican, we talk about Israel, and people just don't want to believe that the same teachings are in all of these religions that go back to Freemasonry, these Babylonian teachings. So you could see the two fingers extended out. It's clear as day that this is a Masonic hand grip. And there's no avoiding, there's no coming up with a theory and saying, well, Freemason handshakes aren't real. Because they are real. They're very real, and they're everywhere. And you could see even books that have been published that just go into detail about all the different grips, right? The past grip of the Master Mason, the real grip of a Mark Master Mason, right? The the grip of an entered apprentice, right? And they show their levels and their allegiance to Freemasonry. So this is just a little background on the lion's paw. It's an important form found among Freemasons is the lion's paw, or grip, formed by placing the fingers in the form of a cat's paw. This grip and its attendant reference to the lion of the tribe of Judah has significance in several respects, both legendary and allegorical. Its message of transition and everlasting life are a critical part of the degree. And keep that in mind, transition, transformation. These are words that we continually hear. These are words that have significance to the occult, the transformation. And remember, the transformation ultimately that we're talking about here is transforming what a human being is, transforming the genetic code, right? And who better than Elon Musk, who is literally out in the open talking about changing what a human being is. It says, as a symbol, the lion has been a favorite subject prior to the Christian era, as well as during the Middle Ages. As a result, there is some confusion regarding its symbolism in Freemasonry. The lion has in all ages been noted as a symbol of strength and sovereignty. The king of the beasts, whose mighty roar brought fear to the hearts of all, was known and respected by many ancient cultures. The lion's head and mane were placed on many Egyptian hieroglyphics, idols, and the famous Sphinx, recognizing this animal as the ruler of the animal kingdom. Having the heart of a lion was and is today deemed an acknowledgement of strength and character. Medieval knights adorned their shields and coats of arms with representation of lions, lions' heads, manes, and paws. Richard the Lion-Hearted and the famous shield of 3 lions are well documented both in history and legend, signifying his sovereignty over England. As a symbol, the Jews sometimes used the lion as an emblem of the tribe of Judah, as they expected the Messiah to descend from this tribe. The reference carried over to Christianity, where the lion of the tribe of Judah refers to Jesus Christ the Messiah. To the ancient craft, the symbolism was seen further in the death and the resurrection of life of man. Legend had that a lion's cub or whelp was born dead and brought to life by the roar of its sire. As such, the reference to the lion may be applied to the Messiah who brought life and the light of immortality to the tribes of Israel through the roar of God's word. They're not referencing our Messiah. There's a reason that they say out in the open that Christians use the lion for Christianity to reference Jesus Christ the Messiah. Their Messiah is Antichrist. That's what this references. It references Antichrist. This goes on to say the Freemason is introduced to the symbolism of the lion's paw during the Master Mason's degree, during the portrayal of the legend where the reference is to spiritual resurrection and immortality. The symbolism of resurrection clearly is an important part of a Freemason's journey and quest for light. Remember, Lucifer is the light bearer that the Freemasons speak of. They worship Lucifer. Albert Pike teaches this over and over and over in his books, Morals and Dogma, etc., 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 right? So the symbolism of resurrection clearly is an important part of Freemasons' journey. In moving from darkness to light, the Freemason recognizes personal transformation and improvement. But the great step forward is made in the third degree from the hand of a trusted brother. One is raised to a higher level of spiritual understanding, and with the strength so gained, may become a better man and Freemason. Everybody knows and should know that Freemasons do not worship Jesus Christ, period. Freemasons learn that Lucifer is the god of this world as they go through initiations and degrees in Freemasonry. Okay? You don't reject this ideology. You don't become a 33rd degree Mason and say, I'm a 33rd degree Mason, but I reject Lucifer. I worship Jesus. It's not happening. That's not how it works. That's not how these vows and these oaths work in secret societies. They take an oath to Lucifer. And you can see the inversion that they use here by using that specific symbol, by using a lion, because we know that the lion has significance in Christianity. We know that the lion is significant. Daniel in the lion's den. We know about the lion, and they use that. And that grip right there that you saw is very clearly a lion's grip. He spreads his fingers deliberately there. And people out there, when we used to cover this stuff, a lot of us used to cover this, not many people around anymore, but the secret handshakes of Freemasons, they always would try to discredit it. They'd be like, well, the finger's moving a little bit this way or moving a little bit that way. It doesn't line up exactly with the picture. Nobody can look at this hand grip and tell me that this isn't a Freemasonic handshake. You can't look at this and tell me this is two guys who are shaking hands. This is a normal way to shake hands. And secondly, why don't people start explaining what the purpose of them shaking hands is, taking a photograph, right? And how about the guy behind Elon Musk in the back corner? If you didn't notice, he's got one of those little hats on. I can't say more than that. But that's all you really need to know about who pulls the strings of the Freemasons, right? But think no further than why are they doing this? Why do they pose for pictures? That's how all of us should be thinking all the time, but we're not, because we're constantly distracted. We're not thinking far enough ahead. We're not saying to ourselves, why are these photographs staged like this? Who's saying cheese right as they shake hands? Well, they're not. They're doing the shake, waiting for the picture to be taken so the picture could be published to the world, because they know the world is too dumb to realize who they are and what they're doing. That's what they do. This is what they've always done, and they continue to do it. We know that they hide certain things now, like you can't find a lot of stuff. A lot of these guys like Trump, you're not going to find them doing too many hand symbols other than the 666, which is the most obvious one, out in the open, right? But the handshakes they will always do. So like I said earlier, this guy, Javier, is playing the role that Trump is playing. They are literally the same character. I have a video on the website documenting this. They're the same character. They're giving the same talking points in their speeches. They're coming out rebelling against the World Economic Forum. Both were attendees, by the way, which means they have to be invited. I mean, well, Klaus Schwab invited Trump because he was hoping to persuade him. Oh, he had to go to keep the globalists. There's always an excuse for these people, right? Because the reason that there's excuses for them is that nobody wants to realize or believe that they're being worked. And it's, you're eventually going to find out that you've been worked when it's too late, when these people lead you and herd you the way they want to herd you. I talk about problem, reaction, solutions is the same exact thing. It's the same exact thing, okay? They're, putting these people in place, giving you false hope in these people. And the Bible specifically tells us not to put our hope in man. These people would be whacked. They wouldn't live to see another day, let alone be in these positions of power if they weren't wanted to be put in these positions of power, if they weren't needed. And they're needed in this just as much as the liberal psychopaths are needed, because it's a hurting of both sides. They control both sides. They wouldn't be going forward with this if they didn't have full control of both sides. So you tell me, is that not a Freemasonic handshake? I mean, what do you think? That he came in the room and he was like, hey, Elon, 1 second. I'm a huge fan. I drive electric vehicles all around. I love SpaceX. I hope we get to Mars. I just want to take a picture of us for my Instagram account. And Elon goes, oh, okay, yeah, sure. But can we have our hands shaking at the moment a picture is taken? I mean, what are you kidding me? Are you joking with me? The fact that people don't think this way is part of the problem, because you don't realize you're being manipulated on every level. You think that stuff is done passingly. It's strategically done. This is a photograph that gets blasted out to billions of people. Billions with a B. Okay? When presidents do this, with popes, it's always the handshake, right? World leaders meeting each other. It's always the handshake. And you don't think anything further. You just go, oh, well, it's two world leaders meeting. They're going to shake hands. You don't think to yourself, why are they taking the picture of them shaking hands right at that exact second? Couldn't they both be looking at the camera arm in arm? And yeah, there's pictures of that too. But they always go out of their way. There's so many photographs throughout history of world leaders doing this. And now we're seeing it, not just with world leaders, we're seeing it with corporation heads, right? Like the Bezoses, the Musks, all done by design. These are all Freemasons. They're all members of the same secret societies, and they're manipulating you into what eventually they want to manipulate you into. Don't put your hope in these people. They've shown their true colors. Elon Musk is the clearest of them all, probably. All of a sudden, this guy who's a lifelong lib is now conservative. He's an advocate for free speech. You don't feel like they're working you, that they're manipulating you. They're taking away your free speech, my free speech. And oh, there comes a guy who's speaking for free speech. He's standing out and he's telling everybody that he can't stand this anymore and he's going to do something about it, right? Oh, give me an utter break. He's a billionaire. Trump is a billionaire. They're all billionaires. Don't you see the common theme here? They're manipulating you. There always has to be two sides. Otherwise, a revolution would start. And that's the last thing they want to have happen. And that's why these people like Shapiro's, Daily Wires, Javier, Trump, Musk, Tucker Carlson, they're all in place for this reason. I thank you for being here, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. God bless you and your families, as always.